Hola amigos, welcome to How to Learn Spanish. My name is Levi Flint. In today's episode of the podcast, I am going to talk about fluency. So, how do we define fluency? What does it mean when you say that you want to be or become fluent in Spanish? Okay? A lot of people have different definitions, different things are going on in their head when it comes to the idea of fluency. My goal for this episode is to give you a very clear, vivid definition and understanding of what it means and what it should mean to you. The reason this is so important early on in your Spanish learning journey, and I found that barely any teachers out there teach this, I think that it's extremely important when you want to accomplish something that is challenging. It's important to have a realistic idea of what it is that you're pursuing, right? So you have a very clear understanding in your mind of what you're going for. So if you play basketball and you want to be a good three-point shooter, okay, well, what's a good three-point shooter? If you can shoot 40%, you're pretty good. If you can shoot 50%, you are world class, right? So it's not perfection, but you have a good idea of what it means to be very good in that particular thing, okay? In this case, we want to define fluency so that you have a clear understanding of what it is that your goal actually should be, so that you are not stressing yourself out as much and that you are kind of coming to this goal of fluency with a very realistic mindset. I actually recorded this episode of the podcast originally as a lesson for a course of mine, and I was about to record the entire thing again, and I thought to myself, I think I'm just going to create this intro right here, and I'm going to integrate this topic where I define fluency, because as I watched this from a couple years ago, I really noticed that I knocked it out of the park, in my opinion, in terms of explaining it in a clear, concise manner. And I'm not sure that I can do that right now, or not as well. So I was really on my game there in terms of teaching language, in terms of teaching Spanish. And I think I did a good job with this. So let me loop that in right now. If you're just listening to the podcast, you probably won't even know much of a difference. If you're watching the video on my YouTube channel at Mexican Fluency's YouTube channel, you'll see the video change a little bit. So listen to this episode. I think it is a really essential one, and it's going to really lay the foundation for what's to come next. Fluency. Let's look at this. In language learning, you have kind of your more beginner levels, your lower intermediate levels, and you have fluency. After fluency, you have more advanced native-like level, and that is what we call proficiency, okay? So know that there is a difference between fluency and proficiency. This is super important. So when we look at the definition of fluency, what do we find? We find something along the lines of the ability to speak or write a foreign language easily and accurately, okay? Easily and accurately. So keep that in mind. What we're shooting for is not perfection, okay? So in this course, we're talking all about how to become fluent, how to reach fluency. Later on, I'm going to probably add some videos talking more about proficiency, how to take it to that next high-end level, right? But our goal for this course is fluency. So let's talk a little bit about the different levels of Spanish, the different levels of language learning in terms of proficiency levels. And so I'll pull that up here on my screen right now. Okay, so there's a thing called the CEFR. This is the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. And what they've done is they have a series of exams and different levels of proficiency that they have detailed out for language learners, people who are trying to become fluent or proficient in a language. So you see here that it's divided into level groups A, B, C. So in the A A group, we see that this is a basic level. Okay, so A1, breakthrough or beginner. A2, way stage or elementary. Okay, so what we want to do in this, we're probably starting out in the A group here in this program. So what we want to do is we want to push through the next level to B, independent user. Okay, we want to get to B1, and then we want to push to B2, upper intermediate. And at B2, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many professional language teachers and language learners, B2 is fluency. Okay, most people don't know this. So if you can get to that B2 upper intermediate level, you have reached fluency. And now when you're looking at the C level, that's the next step. That's the next step. That is proficiency. That's when you sound like a native. Okay, when you sound like a native speaker. Your pronunciation, your sentence structure, your ability to understand is native-like, or much more closer to being native-like. So this should take some pressure off you. All right, we're looking at becoming fluent. We're just shooting for that B2 level. We're shooting for the B2 level. We're not shooting for perfection. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So let's look here at what can you do at the B2 level, right? At the B2 level, you can understand the main ideas of complex text on both concrete and abstract topics, including technical discussions, fields, and their respective field of specialization. You can interact with a degree of fluency, spontaneity that makes regular interaction with native speakers possible without strain for either party. Okay, so this goes back to fluency is being able to communicate, so create language and to understand language with ease and accuracy. Ease and accuracy, not perfection. You can produce clear, detailed text or language on a wide range of subjects and explain a viewpoint on a topical issue, giving the advantages and disadvantages of various options. So that's pretty technical language. All this means, and I'll repeat it one last time, that you can communicate clearly, easily, and accurately. You're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. And when you don't know something, when you're fluent, you have the ability to ask in the language, hey, how do I say this? Or what is a better way to say that? Or can you understand me? Or I'm sorry, I did not understand you. Can you repeat that? Or I'm still learning Spanish. I'm not perfect. Hey, can you please repeat that? Or like, what does that mean? You can say those type of things with ease and with accuracy. Okay? So pretty cool, right? I think a lot of people are surprised when they learn that about fluency. They're like, oh, wow. So, okay, I don't have to be perfect? That takes a lot of pressure off you. This is doable. Last thing, how long does it take to reach fluency? I say it depends on a ton of factors. It depends on a combination of time, consistency, intensity of training, time spent abroad. If you spend any time abroad, you don't have to though. Exposure to native speakers, personal aptitude. So your memory, your ability to hear, your intelligence. Some people are more intelligent than others. All these factors, right? It's a big combination of these factors together. To become fluent in Spanish, if you speak English, you don't have to be a native English speaker, obviously, but if you understand this, if you're coming from, I would say English, any Western European language background, I would say possible in 6 to 12 months, but it totally depends on on these combination of factors. So it could take 2 years. You know, there isn't a correct number because it depends on all of those factors, on your consistency, how many hours per day you're studying, or minutes per day you're studying. You know, it just depends on so much. But just know that if you are consistent, if you follow the advice in this course, and if you are dedicated and putting in the effort and work, it's possible in 6 to 12 months. It could take you up to 2 years. But the idea is that you're just continuing to grind and to work and to grind. And you will, it's inevitable. You will make it happen. All humans, we are designed to, we all speak at least one language. So that shows you that we have evolved, we are designed, we are created to be able to learn language. Okay, it's just part of an innate part of humans. It's a part of who we are. So keep in mind those things. I rambled a little bit in this in this lesson, but super important that you get that through your head of what fluency is and what it isn't. And with that, we conclude this episode of the podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, guys. I think it is a very essential topic to understand early on, and the vast majority of Spanish learners out there in the world will never, 99% of Spanish learners in the world are never going to understand this until maybe much later on, if at all. So understanding what fluency is and what it isn't is really going to help you begin to develop what I like to call the fluency mindset. And that is essentially a realistic mindset and a realistic way of looking at language learning, of looking at learning Spanish. So next episode is going to be quite a bit more pragmatic, and it's going to be another step that you're going to take to begin learning even more Spanish. So right now at this point, I'm suggesting you're doing a lot of listening to real Spanish conversation, podcasts, series, movies, telenovelas, the news. Okay, and I want you to understand this topic before we move forward. So also coming up in a couple of episodes, we're going to expand on this idea of the fluency mindset, and we're going to be looking at motivation and goal setting. Okay, so that is all we have for this episode. Muchas gracias de nuevo. Nos vemos muy pronto. We'll see you very soon. Hasta luego. Bye.